After the end of a good fight, you deserve an ice-cold reward. Modelo, you put in the hours, the energy, the tough labor. Because you know the bigger the fight, the better the reward. Modelo, the mark of the fighter. Drink responsibly. Beer imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are the things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
This Thanksgiving, Target makes hosting easy with our lowest prices of the season. Like Good and Gather premium turkey for 79 cents a pound and quality green beans for only 55 cents. Save more on hosting. Happier holidays from Target. Restrictions apply.
Welcome to Orioles on the Verge. This is Zach Spedden, joined as always by Bob Phelan and Nick Stevens. And we have a lot to get to on tonight's episode, including Colton Cowser not winning American League Rookie of the Year, and the Orioles' decision to protect Brandon Young and Kade Strowd from the Rule 5 draft with 40-man roster spots. And we will get to all of that on tonight's show. But first, Orioles on the Verge is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, NBA and college basketball, NHL to UFC and MMA. Head to BetOnline today. Get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. BetOnline, the game starts here. And Bob, I have to welcome you back. Been out for a couple of weeks. Great to have you back here.
Yeah, it's great to be back. 15-day IL is back in action. Yeah, it was a rough stretch. Had some severe pneumonia, was in a hospital a little bit, but feeling better. Glad to be back, get back to normal. Just in time for the winter meetings a couple weeks away. So
we're glad that you made a recovery, and I think it's fitting that you have the chance to do tonight what you do at the top of a lot of episodes, and that's welcome a new patron to our community.
Yeah, got to pay these hospital bills. So thank you, Seth English, for joining up as a paid member, single A. Really appreciate the support. So thank you, Seth.
As a quick reminder, you can join our Patreon community for as little as $3 a month. Become a paying member. We will be rolling out our top 50 countdown for our top prospect list soon. And new this year, if you are an existing patron, you can give the gift of a Patreon membership to the Orioles fan in your family or in your circle of friends. So head over to our Patreon to look into details for that. But that is a new offering this year. And now we'll get into probably the biggest story of the week in Birdland since Colton Cowser did not win Rookie of the Year, which we'll get into in a moment. But the Orioles made a decision on Tuesday night to protect two players from the upcoming Rule 5 draft with 40-man roster spots. One of the moves was not a surprise at all, and that was the decision to award a 40-man roster spot to Brandon Young, the minor league pitcher of the year, and a guy who right now is at least on the cusp of the major league rotation. And then the second player that was protected was maybe a little bit of a sleeper, maybe a bit of a surprise if you look purely at his stats from last year, and that is reliever Kade Strowd. Now, Strowd did have some rough patches in AAA Norfolk last year after being promoted from AA, and before 2024, because of injuries and some inconsistencies, had always seemed to be one of those guys whose stuff often did not match the results. You're hearing good things about how some of his pitches looked, but it wasn't necessarily backed up by the results you were seeing on the field. It seemed like in 2024, he at least closed the gap on that, and the Orioles ultimately decide to protect him from the Rule 5 draft of the 40-man spot. So, Nick, I'll start with you. You and I had a chance to preview this last week, and we talked then about how Young was a lock, and that Strowd, on the other hand, was one of those names that at first glance might not seem like a standout choice to be protected, but there could be reasons for the Orioles to protect him from the Rule 5 draft, and that's ultimately what they did. So what are your thoughts on that decision?
With Brandon Young, yeah, I think everybody had that as the lock. It is kind of like a proud dad moment almost. Seeing him added to the 40-man roster, it's just really cool to see. Like that was a guy who, like, from the moment the Orioles signed him in 2020 after the draft, like I watched 2 innings of one of his starts. I was like, that guy's got a path. I assume throw him in the bullpen. You look at his height, this disgusting curveball he had in Louisiana Lafayette. Throw him in the bullpen, let him fly up the ranks, see what happens. He could get there pretty quickly. But he exceeded expectations when he was down at Delmarva, exceeded expectations in Aberdeen. Was scared to see what Brandon Young was going to look like after missing almost virtually 2 years with that second Tommy John surgery. But he came back and the velo was good, wasn't walking guys, and that continued in 2024. He had one of the lowest, I think the lowest walk rate of his career this past year. And like we'll see what his role is next year. I don't think he's going to be in like some hard competition for a rotation spot. I say that hoping that, Snell, Fried, Burns, one of those guys in an Orioles uniform, multiple other arms are in an Orioles uniform. But yeah, it's great for Brandon Young. I do have some things that we can talk about with his numbers that I saw earlier that do caution me a little bit, but super happy for him. With Kade Strowd, that was the shocker. I threw out Peter Van Loon as maybe if they go deep as my like deep sleeper pick. I was not expecting Kade Strowd just because he was Rule 5 eligible last year, right? And didn't get protected or signed by anybody else, obviously. But yeah, like that's a guy who, go back to 2022, I think, when John Mioli first brought his name up as like, I'm making calls and people are telling me he should be a top 30 Orioles prospect because he came back from injury. He's pumping 99 miles per hour in Aberdeen in that crazy season they had in 2022, making the playoffs. Like Strowd was really impressing a lot of guys. And I don't know, it's kind of been the same story this year with Strowd, where if you go back to 2023, and I know we talked about this specifically, I remember, a year ago. But if you look at his season in 2023 with Bowie, the stat line wasn't great, but he ended the year on a very high note. The walks significantly decreased the second half of the season, hoping that could carry into 2024, knowing that the Orioles are high on him and this guy's got some pretty nice stuff. But 2024, you look at his stat line, still not that great. But at the same time, he closed out the year on a high note. His final 13 innings of the season, he only walked one batter. So like it was surprising, sure. He's a 27-year-old reliever from the 2019 draft class. We'll see if he survives the offseason, but there's stuff to like there.
Yeah, listening to you guys last week talk about the possibility of the outside shot guys, and Strowd was definitely one of them. Was still surprising to see it officially announced. I expected it to be just Brandon Young, and congrats to him and Kade. Obviously, this is a very cool moment especially a player who's not a high draft pick and expected to get to this point. Very cool moment. But yeah, Strowd, the stuff is obviously excellent. They've obviously loved his stuff for a long time. I loved that, Nick, you tweeted out the Stuff Plus from TJ Stats, who I'm hoping to get on the podcast later this offseason, but you can see why, even though despite the numbers 6.80 ERA, 1.85 whip in 41 innings in AAA, like you said, the way he ended the year, 17 strikeouts, 1 walk, 2.08 ERA over his final 13 innings, but his Stuff Plus, he's got an average four-seamer, 96 miles per hour, grades out about average, but then curveball above average, 104 Stuff Plus, 59 grade on it. Cutter, 108 Stuff Plus, 66 grade, so that's nearing plus plus. And then the sweeper, 121 Stuff Plus and a 69 grade, which is just elite pitch right there. So for average to above average, some elite pitches, like you can see the mix there. It's all about command and control, which he showed at the end of the year. He's 27 years old, so it's now or never. So, but at least he's a reliever with great stuff, which we know the Orioles like, and he has 3 options. So that's something that the bullpen could use moving forward as they revamp it a little bit. So very happy for Strowd. I'm excited to see what he can do. Hopefully gets off to a good start and can build on his 2024 the way he ended. And yeah, Brandon Young, what else is there to say? The guy was excellent immediately after his second Tommy John surgery. looked great in Double-A, moved up to Triple-A, where it's supposed to be a little bit tougher to with the balls and strikes and the challenge system. It's supposed to be a little bit tougher on pitchers. He just got better than he did in Double-A. It was walking less, striking out more. Great ERA over, I think, a 3.57 ERA for the season as a whole, over 111 innings. There was a shot he got a cup of coffee in the majors at the end of 2024. So not a surprise, but very cool. Very, very solid depth to have going into spring training. Like Nick said, hopefully the Orioles are signing an ace as well as another pitcher or two to come in here and have a really deep starting rotation in 2025. But guys like Povich, McDermott, and Young are huge to have just sitting there in AAA ready to come up at a moment's notice.
Bob, I think you brought up a good point with Strowd, which is that now the Orioles have an optionable pitcher in their bullpen mix. And I don't think Stroud's going to crack the opening day roster, even with the bullpen the way it is right now. I just don't really see a path forward for him. But if he can go down and over the first month or so that the numbers he put up at the end of last season were not an outlier, and then he really has made adjustments to AAA hitters, I think he stands a good chance of getting to the big leagues. I guess what I wonder, and I'm curious to get your guys' thoughts on this, is that how much of this do you think was maybe motivated by the Orioles believing that Strowd can be a near-term answer, even if it's not on opening day of next year, versus maybe he's not going to be in the mix right away, but if we don't protect him, someone else will take him, and there's some bullpen depth and some roster flexibility that we're not going to have.
I think that's a decent part because, yeah, he's 27 years old. He has been in AAA, ended the year strong with his stuff. Very good chance that someone takes a flyer on him, and maybe he can make it all year out of a bullpen role at the back end of a bad team's bullpen. I mean, you'd hate to lose out on that. And we've seen even just the guys that the Orioles have targeted in trades, Gregory Soto, Sir Anthony Dominguez, like they value stuff over command, it seems like, or at least they think they can get more out of their command with whatever they're doing in-house. But yeah, I think just Strowd is a pure stuff guy, and I think they value that because, look, with Felix Bautista, another journeyman who had ridiculous stuff, they were able to hone it. Boom, best closer in baseball until he got hurt. And Strowd is, again, if you can get that command locked down, or at least good enough the way it was at the end of the year, that's an elite arm right there out of your bullpen. And you don't want to give up on that opportunity. Obviously, the Orioles don't. I don't know if I would have protected Strowd if I was in their shoes, but we can see, I think, just from the way they've done things in the recent past, why they would protect him.
Yeah. Yennier Cano, another guy. That was a trade. You target him, but the numbers were god-awful. But this stuff was disgusting. Look at how that turned out. Not saying Strowd is going to turn into Cano or Felix Bautista, obviously. I think it's more so, the fact that the stuff is really good. Like, it's, if somebody's saying, oh, he's got nasty stuff, he literally does. Bob read off the numbers there. I think this is a case of, this isn't going to prevent the Orioles from going off and be like, oh, we protected Strowd. He's on the 40-man. That's one of our bullpen additions. We're good. Maybe we can take another flyer on a waiver claim later on in the offseason. No, I think if the opportunity presents itself, and if they're targeting a free agent reliever, much better option than Craig Kimbrell, hopefully, pray to God. But like, that's not going to, Kate Stroud's not going to stop them from signing bullpen help or going off and even trading for a bullpen option that they are targeting. This is just a case of he's going to get selected more than likely because he has AAA experiences. He has the nasty stuff. So another team would probably look to take a flyer on him. So let's go ahead and protect him. And, if the way the offseason shakes out, if there's not a spot for him and they have to DFA him and try to sneak him through waivers and he doesn't, unfortunately, that's the business part of all this. But for right now, I think it's just a matter of let's protect him and let's see how the offseason shakes out. And hopefully, I agree. I don't think he's going to be on the opening day roster, but he's got options. He's going to be in AAA. He's there in case something happens.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
This Thanksgiving, Target makes hosting easy with our lowest prices of the season, like Good and Gather premium turkey for 79 cents a pound and quality green beans for 55 cents. Or classic stovetop stuffing on sale for $1.99 and delicious favorite day apple or pumpkin pie for only $4.49. Plus, get unlimited same-day delivery with a free 14-day trial of Target Circle 360 to make planning even easier. Save more on hosting. Happier holidays from Target. Restrictions apply.
I want to get into some players that the Orioles didn't protect in a moment, but Nick, I want to go back to you to follow up on something you had said about Brandon Young early on, which is that maybe there are some stuff in his numbers that raise a little bit of concern, even with him coming off the season he had.
Yeah, just let me pull it up here, make sure I got everything. Yeah, look, I love Brandon Young. We speak very highly of Young. I amazed that he is on the 40-man roster. Absolutely love it. But when I was looking at some of this other stuff, you look back to what Lance Brzdowski wrote about Young in early 2024. This was when he was in Bowie. And it was the fastball stuff plus was 115. Overall stuff plus was 107. That's very good, right? 20 inches of induced vertical break on the four-seam fastball. That's elite territory. The unique delivery that he had. So it's 20 inches of vertical break with this unique delivery that guys like his height, like don't release it at this point. It's the math that I don't understand the math, but the math is what it is. The physics is what it is. And he got insane whiff rates on the fastball because it was a lot of unique traits combining together, right? The changeup he threw in the strike zone at 23% above league average when he was in AA. And was another supreme swing and miss pitch. And then again, the slider, according to Lance, Grayson Rodriguez and Dean Kramer shaped but needed more velo, right? Then I was looking, and I believe when he was on the show, he even warned about this. Like, things could change when he gets the AAA ball. And they did. I don't know if I can't remember if he talked about this already. I can't remember when he was on the show and if Young was already in AAA or not, but he did lose a couple of inches of vertical break on the fastball. And that 115 stuff plus that was in AA went down to 91 in AAA. The changeup did not get the whiffs when he was in AAA either. It was like 21%, which was the least amount of whiffs among his main offerings. The curveball still a very, very good pitch. 102 stuff plus, which is awesome. But yeah, it's why I kind of think when you're looking at like what role Brandon Young has, I think this is a guy who he was an undrafted free agent out of a mid-major program. And now he's on the 40-man roster. That's a huge win. But I think if you're looking at like expectations for Brandon Young, could he compete for a number 5 spot? Yes, absolutely. There's still a lot to like here. I'm not trying to bring Brandon Young down. I'm as big as hype man there is. But just I think this is a guy who realistically is a guy who, you know, again, like Strowd, he's not going to stop the Orioles from going off and signing starting pitchers or trading for starting pitchers. But he's going to be really good depth for you. And hopefully maybe a little bit more out of the bullpen maybe down the road is kind of where I envision him in his role this year.
Yeah, that's very good points. I do remember Lance bringing that up, that the Major League / AAA ball can have different effects on what these guys are doing with their pitches. So hopefully, you know, this offseason he's spending time just working on the AAA / Major League ball and trying to get what he was doing with the minor league ball to do with the Major League ball. Time will tell, but even if it stays the way it is, like you said, just very, very solid depth to have there. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a good level set of expectations for both guys because Young, you could look at the stats or you could look at the age and feel like, okay, he was older for the level, or look out on the bright side and say, oh, he just came off a really solid season. The fact is that he is good quality depth, and the Orioles, on the whole, are better off with him on the 40-man roster than they are leaving him unprotected. But I agree with both of you. That does not prevent them from going out and getting a starter or even 2 starters this offseason. Now, as you and I talked about, Nick, last week, the class of Rule 5 eligible players for the Orioles this year was deep, but the players themselves individually had a lot of question marks, whether it's because of injuries or a lack of experience at the upper levels of the minor leagues. So it's not surprising that a few players who had borderline cases were left off. So someone like Alex Pham, who's put together back-to-back good seasons, but has yet to pitch above the AA level, was not protected. Juan Nunez, who most outlets nationally have ranked in the top 20 to top 25 of the farm system, has excellent stuff, but just suffered a shoulder injury last season, hasn't pitched above high A. He was not protected. Edgar Portes, who might be one of the fastest rising arms in this system, really good stuff. Again, has not pitched above A ball. He was Rule 5 eligible and left unprotected. And you could go even deeper into the list to look at guys like Keegan Gillies, Tyler Burts, who looked pretty good in the Arizona Fall League, as we're going to talk about later on this week. And there's some interesting names when you get beyond Young and Strowd that don't have 40-man roster spots now. And the Orioles are, in theory, at risk of losing in the Major League phase of the Rule 5 draft, but to what extent does that risk exist in your mind with these guys?
Not much, to be honest with you. Like we said, or you guys have said, I wasn't here. I listened. I thought I was there in my head. Yeah, these guys are all pitchers we like. We like them a lot. But I think, honestly, I just think the Rule 5 has evolved in the past handful of years where you're not seeing the guys taken from A ball, AA. You're seeing more polished pitchers that are getting taken, and even just less pitchers in general. I feel like less players are getting taken at all. But that's why I think you see Brandon Young, AAA, Kade Strowd, AAA, protected, because they're right there. The gap between AA and high A to the majors is extreme. Like we've heard the gap between AAA and the majors is as wide as it's ever been. How do you think it is even lower than that? So I think it's a not even that big of a risk, but a calculation where, like you said, a lot of these guys haven't even pitched in AA yet. Maybe Pham is like the one that's most at risk because he did pitch a full season plus at AA. But he doesn't really, I like him a lot. I don't think he has really like that one dominant pitch where you can put him in a bullpen and have him survive the year. I think we've seen guys like Grayson Rodriguez and Kyle Bradish have extreme adjustment periods. So I think a guy like Pham is going to be even more so, and doesn't make me think less of him as a prospect than we already did. But these guys, I just don't think there's really much risk at all that they're going to get taken. And if they did, I don't think they're going to make it the whole year.
Yeah, like we said last week, a lot of these guys, Portes is a fantastic pitching prospect, very slept on, I think, but he was an A-ball. Like you said, he's not getting picked. Juan Nunez, saw his name a lot yesterday, and it's like, I didn't realize MLB Pipeline, I don't read MLB Pipeline, like, ever. I don't like their stuff, but apparently he's the number 8 prospect, according to MLB Pipeline, which is mind-blowing. I like it, to be honest, but hate to admit that. But, like, again, it was a shoulder injury where he missed pretty much all year. He only had 30-something innings or something like that. No team's going to take Juan Nunez. I truly don't believe that. And Pham, yeah, for all the reasons we mentioned last week, he's already, like, peak Alex Pham is a guy who I think if he were to get to the major leagues, like, I kind of feel like his role is probably more as a reliever already, like maybe a fringe back end starter. Like, it again, like Bob said, there's not that one elite tool. Like, if there is a guy who I look at and be like, I could see a team maybe taking a risk here. I don't know what team, but like, and I know the numbers weren't good, but Keegan Gillies, at least he's got that height. He's got the splitter. He's got the velo. There's a lot to like with Keegan Gillies. Yeah, he didn't get to AAA. Yes, he doesn't have the numbers, but like, there are traits there that really, really stand out. And so when I think about the Rule 5 draft, that's what I'm looking at. I don't know what some of these teams are looking at and what they value, but like, I could see Gillies possibly being that guy. Otherwise, I really don't see anyone else that I think the Orioles are in danger of losing. I don't know if, again, the Justin Armbruster thing is just, I don't know what to think. I don't know if I know we touched on this in passing, so I don't know if Bob, you have thoughts about Armbruster or if you've thought about it more, Zach, but he's Rule 5 eligible. He wasn't protected. They could protect him in the minor league phase of the Rule 5 draft. That's still a thing where a lot of these guys will be put on that list. But like, is Armbruster even a guy who they leave unprotected in the minor league phase and he's not in the organization next year? I don't know, but I don't know if I see him being selected in the major league phase. I think the Orioles made two solid choices, and I could see a couple of these guys, they're going to lose 2 or 3, probably. At least 2, I would say, in the minor league phase. But the major league phase, I think they're pretty good.
Yeah, Gillies is a good call. Yeah, he's got the height, like you said, velocity, splitter. Yeah, he was a little up and down, shaky in Double-A, but we know the potential's there. So I think he's probably the most at risk. That's a good call. Armbruster, so tricky. I feel like he's a guy you got to turn loose in the bullpen, see how he does out of there at some point, because I know they like his stuff. I know he's better than he showed last year, but something's got to give at some point. So, yeah. And, hey, let's get Trey Miguel back in here. Bring him home. Could be our Rule 5 selection. He's available, and he pitched pretty darn well last year. I hated to give him up for Eloy Jimenez, but maybe the time is right to bring him home.
I would not hate that at all. And I agree with Nick that Gillies is the one guy that I look at and think I could see a team taking a flyer on him. It's going to have to be a team, though, that goes into this season. And I don't say this because I don't believe some of the hype with Gillies. I absolutely do. But to take a guy who is yet to pitch above Double-A and who had kind of mixed results last year and believe that he has a chance of sticking in the major leagues all year probably means your bullpen is in really bad shape going into spring training. So to the extent that you're going to track the Rule 5 drafts, because it ends in like 10 minutes, the major league phase at least, to the extent you're going to track it, if he doesn't go off the board within the first few picks, he's probably not going to go off the board. You're probably safe from him being chosen in the major league phase. Honestly, if it was an upside thing, I could see Pham or Portes going, but Portes just doesn't have the experience. And Pham, I think Nick said it accurately that for as good as he's been, we kind of know where his ceiling is, which is bullpen most likely, possibly back-end starter. And we're again talking about someone who is not pitched above Double-A. You're probably going to look elsewhere for help because although I will admit that I haven't taken that deep of a dive into the list of players that are left unprotected by the other 29 teams, generally speaking, there's decent AAA type depth left over, and you can find someone that has similar traits as Alex Pham, and that person will have had innings in AAA that Pham does not.
Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. Shopify is there to help you grow. Shopify helps you sell everywhere, from their all-in-one e-commerce platform to their in-person POS system. Shopify's got you covered. Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers with the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, and sell more with less effort thanks to Shopify Magic, your AI-powered all-star. What I love about Shopify is how no matter how big you want to grow, Shopify gives you everything you need to take control and take your business to the next level. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the U.S., and Shopify is the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Plus, Shopify's award-winning help is there to support your success every step of the way. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
This Thanksgiving, Target makes hosting easy with our lowest prices of the season, like Good and Gather premium turkey for 79 cents a pound and quality green beans for 55 cents. Or classic stovetop stuffing on sale for $1.99 and delicious favorite day apple or pumpkin pie for only $4.49. Plus, get unlimited same-day delivery with a free 14-day trial of Target Circle 360 to make planning even easier. Save more on hosting. Happier holidays from Target. Restrictions apply.
And take this for what you will. Baseball America has already got their first version of their intriguing, top Rule 5 options. No Orioles on that list. So it's not like, oh man, these prospects, they aren't that good. No, that's a good sign. I again, like I said last week, I need to know, like, wink, wink. I need to know that minor league protected list.
Yeah, love seeing that.
I need that because I'm looking at this and like I could see you got like guys like Kyle Furbisky, Tyler Birch, Dylan Hyde, Houston Roth, Gillies, Carter Ballmer. It's mind blowing that he's Rule 5 eligible. He hasn't pitched since 2019, basically. Daniel Fetterman, Portes, Peak, Daniel Lloyd, Ryan Long, Peter Van Loon, Gene Pinto, Juan Nunez, Branovich. Like these are all guys like you're going to have to. I think, like, I'm not saying you have to protect them, but who do the Orioles value? Who are they going to add to that minor league protection list? Who are they going to leave off? Because some of those guys, like, I could see being snapped up pretty quickly in the minor league phase, where you can just take the guy for like $5,000, and there's no roster requirement. You can throw them in the DSL if you want to all year. It doesn't matter. They're yours for until you release them or they become free agents. So that's. I'm not concerned. Maybe I got too cocky from last year, and we're like, do you protect Hudson Haskin? Do you protect Kyle Branovich? I don't know. I'd hate to lose them. And the Rule 5 draft went by, and like you guys have mentioned, very few picks. So I don't know if I'm just getting like too cocky with this. Like, oh, no one really uses the Rule 5 draft that much anymore. We're good. I hope that's still the case. But it's the minor league phase that I'm going to be paying close attention to because I think that's going to hurt this year.
Agreed.
We'll go on now to American League Rookie of the Year voting, which ended in a bit of a disappointment for Orioles fans because Colton Cowser fell just short in a very close race, coming in second behind Yankees starter Luis Gil. Now, as we talked about last week, this Rookie of the Year class was a group of prospects that have pretty solid futures ahead of them, Cowser included. Some of them put together good years, but there wasn't that one player like Gunnar Henderson last year or Julio Rodriguez the year before where they checked every box. So a close race was not a surprise, but still kind of interesting the way things unfolded. And this is from the Baseball Writers Association of America. There was not a single player this year in American League Rookie of the Year voting that was named on every single ballot this year. Colton Cowser, meanwhile, was named on more total ballots than Gil, but Gil gets the edge because of the point system. So Gil gets 15 first place votes compared to Cowser's 13, and that helps push him over the top a little bit, even though Cowser appears on more ballots total and also outpaces Gil in second place votes and third place votes. Now, we could sit here and pick apart, because we have the full list of how writers voted in order of first, second, third. We could sit here and pick that apart. I don't really have the energy to do that. I don't know about you guys. But let's just say this, which is that Cowser was probably more hurt by the ballots that he did not appear on altogether than he was by the ones where he didn't place first. But, chalk it up to whatever you want to, look at it with. Could it be Cowser's low batting average being the reason that he didn't win the award? Is it the fact that Gil was perhaps the most consistent pitcher on the best team in the American League in the Yankees? Could it be big market bias? I don't think that's a thing, but I know some people do. Whatever it is, Cowser does not win Rookie of the Year, but I don't think it diminishes the fact that he had a very good rookie season and has a bright future ahead of him. That said, I think we can take a few minutes here to discuss these results. Bob, I'll start with you. How do you react to this decision by the writers?
Well, I think it's dumb. I think Cowser certainly deserved to win for a multitude of reasons. But it's the most annoying thing to me is awards are so meaningless. Like you said, it doesn't change a thing about Cowser's season and his development as a player. If it wasn't tied to earning an extra first-round draft pick, I'd be like, oh, that's dumb. That sucks, and move on. And now I'm like getting mad because we should have got an extra first-round draft pick here because I think he was clearly the better. And, yeah, like you said, it was a weaker class. There was no standout in the American League side. National League was a tough race for a different reason. Cowser had 4 F4. Heel had 2.2. Gosh, the multitude of reasons. I've heard Cowser, he was too streaky. He had some really cold stretches. Well, Luis Heel, from June 15th on, had a 5.15 ERA with a 5.32 FIP and a 4.92 xFIP. So not even bad luck. Like, he was just bad for the last 3.5 months of the season. But that doesn't matter, I guess. I don't know. I was getting fired up just because they made it important, but then the voting is still dumb. So it's annoying to me.
Yeah, I completely agree there. And just the fact that, I don't know. You look at the NL, sure. Paul Skeens, Jackson Merrill, Jackson Churio, Shota Imanaga, 4th place with only 4 third-place votes here. Like that, he was fantastic last year. NL was tough. AL, it was a 2-horse race. Like, that was it. That's the reason when we talked about it, it was just those 2 guys because that was it. There's really, maybe if you want to make an argument for Mason Miller, okay, make your argument, but no, it was Healer Cowser. But I don't think you talk about the streakiness or heel splits. I don't think voters aren't doing that kind of homework. A lot of these people aren't. They're not doing that homework and looking at it. And so like they don't care. They see, I don't think it's necessarily that it's, strictly big market bias, but you see a Yankee pitcher, they won the division, he's got 15 wins and a rookie, even though he made his major league debut 3 years ago or something like that. He's an older guy, but still, again, voters not looking at that. They see 15 wins in a Yankee uniform, helped win the division, yada yada. He's the winner. They go, I pick him. I don't even think it's even us being like, oh, Orioles fans complaining about this. Cowser should have won because that's our guy. If I was in the NL, if I cared about the NL side, I think Jackson Merrill fully deserved it over Paul Skeens. Like I said when we debated this, both sides, it's really hard for me to go with the pitcher over the hitter because Jackson Merrill was a huge reason why the Padres were a playoff team. The Pirates were still bad because Paul Skeens is fantastic. Also, if I know fantasy baseball drafts for next year have already started and really getting into full swing here in a couple of days, draft Paul Skeens in the first round. Keep doing it. He's going super high in these drafts. Keep drafting Paul Skeens in the first round of the fantasy draft. Let me know when you want to draft and put some money up in those drafts because he's not a first round draft pick. Anyway, I shouldn't be this fired up either, but here we are. It's just annoying. The hitters, the Padres were in the playoffs because Jackson Merrill played a huge role in that. Colton Cowser was a regular in this Orioles. He played 153 games. He was fantastic. I don't even care. Let me pull up the numbers here. I really don't care about awards either. I only know Skubal won Cy Young because I'm looking at this article right now. But if you could have done Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP, done a huge show on MLB Network last night. I watched 0-10 Kent State versus 2-9 Akron last night. I still would have watched that on CBS Sports Network, the Ocho or whatever it is. I still would have watched that over an award show because I don't care about awards. But Cowser, 4-award player, like you said, 153 games as a rookie, 24 home runs, a 120 WRC plus.
Great defense.
Yeah, a fantastic defense. We only care because of the draft pick. That's the only reason we're talking about this, and we care because of the draft pick, and more importantly, the bonus pool money that comes with the draft pick. But Cowser is, a lot of people didn't like the pick back in 20 whatever when he was drafted.
21.
2021. They didn't like the pick, right? A lot of people tried to write him off as he moved up the organization. He was in Aberdeen, struggling, as was Norby, as was Mayo in that same lineup. People tried to write him off. He gets to Norfolk. Strikeout rate goes up. People tried to write him off. He gets to the major leagues that first time. It was bad. Yeah, it was bad. More people tried to write him off. Even now, why'd you swing at that pitch that he broke his hand on? Give it up. He swung because it was a disgusting pitch. Pitching Ninja had a great gif on that.
Yep.
Get over it. He swung. Who cares? He's trying to do his job. Baseball's hard. Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in sports. People are still trying to write off Cowser because, like Bob said, the streakiness or whatever. Those numbers were unbelievable in his first year in the big leagues. He's going to be an Oriole, I hope, for a long time. He had a great year. Is there a lot he can improve on? Absolutely. Are there holes in his game? Absolutely. But got me fired up for another Cowser rant as usual. But yeah, he's going to be in this lineup. He's going to be an integral part in this lineup for years to come. And his peers voted him Rookie of the Year. He wins.
My favorite thing I saw was that Juan Soto's 8 months younger than the AL Rookie of the Year winner.
That is wild. I'm not going to lie. It always does amaze me like how young Juan Soto is, and he could be doing this for another 15 years at the top of the game. It's hate him all you want, but the guy is just a freak of nature.
Well, and hey, who knows? Hopefully this time next year we'll be talking about Kobe Mayo winning American League Rookie of the Year and the Orioles getting that extra pick in the 2025 or the 2026 draft. But they're not going to get that this year from Cowser winning Rookie of the Year. Nonetheless, though, still a great rookie season for him. And as I'm sure we're going to continue to discuss, you should be excited about what he will contribute in the future. And we have more Orioles coverage coming for you later this week. We're going to talk about what is the big story on the Major League side of things, at least as of this recording, which is that the Orioles are again moving the left field wall. We might give that 5 minutes more coverage than we did the last wall move when we gave it 0 minutes coverage. So you're not going to want to miss that. We'll also break down the Arizona Fall League. That'll be on later this week. In the meantime, you can check us out on our many social media channels, including Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, TikTok, and YouTube. We're also over at Substack, OriolesOnTheVerge.substack.com. Nick has a few new articles out that you're going to want to check out. And you can catch us over at Patreon. As I mentioned at the top of the show, you have the opportunity now to sign up as a paying member for as little as $3 a month, or give a gift subscription to an Orioles family member or friend this offseason. For Bob Phelan and Nick Stevens, this is Zach Spedden. You've been listening to Orioles on the Verge, presented by BetOnline and part of the Believe Podcast Network.
This Thanksgiving, Target makes hosting easy with our lowest prices of the season, like Good and Gather premium turkey for 79 cents a pound and quality green beans for 55 cents. Or classic stovetop stuffing on sale for $1.99 and delicious favorite day apple or pumpkin pie for only $4.49. Plus, get unlimited same-day delivery with a free 14-day trial of Target Circle 360 to make planning even easier. Save more on hosting. Happier holidays from Target. Restrictions apply.
Bingo.
All right, Phil, we're recording now, so it's live. Go ahead. Pick on me the way that you want to.
Did I say that? I wouldn't say that to my son. Man, I mean, come on, man.
Just go. This isn't CBS.
All right, be quiet for a few seconds. Why would people want to listen to the Sims Complete podcast? Well, a couple things. One, if you like to see sons pick on their father, this might be the place. If you want to see a place where the father just kicks the out of his son, this would be the place. What do you like about it, Matt?
Ditto. Father-son dynamic duo talking about the game of football that we love and share and appreciate together. And, you know, hey, it's an extension of what we did, right? Growing up, I was able to watch my father play football, then obviously watch him as a broadcaster. And then he taught me the game of football and share the wisdom that he learned throughout his playing career. And, you know, hey, sometimes we're full of it and sometimes we actually know a thing or two.
Well, we do a lot of research. At least I do. You're a little spotty, but you know, you hang in there. It's fun. I love doing this and it's been awesome.
Sims Complete. Check us out wherever your podcasts are available on the Believe Network. Appreciate it. See ya.